I thought both teams played really hard, which scrambled the game a little bit. Neither of us shot it very well, but I didn't think there were a lot of wide open shots to be had. Obviously, the turnovers really hurt us. We didn't get enough opportunities. We had 10 less shots than they did, and the turnovers were a big part of that. So I like the way our guys tried to battle back and stay in the game, but we put ourselves in a position that was tough to dig out of because of some bad decisions, some quick threes, and some really bad turnovers.
We'll take questions first for the student athletes. Casey and Dylan are here. Their teammates are in the locker room, and the first question will come up here on the right side of the center section.
I'd like to ask both Dylan and Casey to just kind of give me your assessment of the progress this team made and just, kind of summarize this year. I know it's a disappointing end, but I remember talking to you guys back in October. You had high hopes and you may have come a step short, but what's your assessment of this year?
Dylan first, please, then Casey.
We started off this year, hoping, to get to where we are today. We went through our ups and downs, all year. However, we stuck with it. Coach kept confidence in us. Even when we started the season, and nobody thought we'd be the team that everybody thought we'd be. But we stuck with it, kept pushing, and I'm just happy that we started playing good at the right time and got this far.
Casey, same question for you.
Yeah, as Dylan said, had a rough start, to the season, and just continue to work, continue to get better, day in and day out. And I think that's just a testament to Coach and him continuing to push us and, knowing that there was so much room for growth. And, so obviously while it stings, to say the least, there's a lot of positives to look back on.
To the right of the aisle.
Casey, if you could talk a little bit about the rebound at the end of the game off the missed foul shot.
The first one, it just got tipped out. They got it, and then the second one, they got it again. So, wish I could have dove and gotten it. That was on me. So.
Just a reminder to all, please state your name and media outlet before your question, and we're going to go to the back row, all the way to the left, all the way in the back.
Gus Morris, Daily Emerald. Obviously, it's tough to quantify not having Chris Boucher in a game like this, but having him in a game like this, how big would that have been with the way he rebounds, defends the rim and can stretch the floor out against their bigs?
We'll ask Dylan to take that first, then Casey, please.
It would have been great to have him. Chris changed the game, especially on the defensive end, but we didn't have him. We knew we were going into this game without him. We won a lot of tough games without him. But he's, part of our family. We would have loved to have him out there, but because he wasn't, it was on us to get the job done. Casey.
Yeah, no, obviously we would have loved to have Chris out there. Hurt more for him not to be out there than us. It would be terrible not to be able to play in games like these. So, we missed him. Obviously, we, had to pick up the slack for what he brought to our team. So, I think once he went out, we did a pretty good job of that for the most part.
Continuing with questions for the student athletes, if there are any, please raise your hand. We'd like to thank Casey and Dylan for joining us here in the main interview room. They're going to head back toward the locker room area right now, where there should be availability for a few more minutes. We're taking questions now for Coach Altman. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Let's go right to the center of the room.
Mike Scout, Kezia, and Eugene. Dana, after all is said and done with this season, as really the way the postseason has ended and how the regular season sort of culminated, with the way that all of this ended, what do you say to your team? What do you say to them after the way they played tonight, came close, after the kind of playoffs that they've had?
Well, I wish I had something that I could say that'd make them feel better. It hurts. Those guys are great competitors. I thought that was the greatest characteristic they had was they liked to compete, and they showed some of that tonight. They were down 10 with 7-8 minutes to go and wouldn't give in to it. They're gonna look back and it's gonna hurt because we didn't play very well at times. Our turnovers were bad and we made some really bad decisions and quick threes. So they're not gonna feel very good about it when they watch the film. But I can't fault their competitiveness. I can't fault their effort. I wish we'd have been a little sharper, but I'm sure Roy feels the same way. Like I said, it was two teams really playing hard. Really wanted to win. Meeks had a great game, and we just didn't stop him inside.
All the way to the back left, coach, for the Daily Emerald.
Yeah, I guess Morris again. Obviously winning it all would have been the ultimate goal here, but how can you put this season into words with how historic it was and the things that you guys were able to do?
Well, I think that we'll look back, in a couple weeks, and this hurdle start to be a little less, and guys will feel pretty good about it. It's pretty hard to feel good about it right now, but I do believe as the summer goes on and they reflect, the guys got along great. They were really fun to work with as a coaching staff. Pretty unselfish. They try to make plays for each other. So I think when they look back, they're going to have really good feelings about it, but it will take a while for the sting to get over. And, the next few weeks, the next couple months, not going to feel real good.
Coach, second row on the left.
Hi, Coach. Kara Luck of Carolina Blue. It's safe to say that this tournament kind of grows you as a team and individually. What are some things that you think that your team has learned, I guess, the past couple of weeks, and you as a coach?
I think that, our team learned, some things about working together and teamwork and fighting through adversity. And we fought through some adversity with the injury to Chris and still tried to compete. They'll learn from tonight that every possession counts, and same way with our Michigan game that went down to one possession. So they learn that, and hopefully they'll learn, looking down the road, that every possession counts, but every day is going to count. When you're working on your career, when you're working on your family, everything counts. And close loss like this, it drives coaches crazy. It drives players crazy because that, you think about every one little thing, a free throw you missed, a turnover that you had, a rebound that you didn't get, a defensive assignment that you missed. It really messes with you for a little bit longer.
Toward the back on the right.
Dana, Mark Bradley from the Atlanta Journal and Constitution. The two free throws, what were your views on those? Did you not box out? Did your guy go too far into the basket? Did he get pushed in the back? What happened?
I don't know. There was a scrum there, and we didn't come up with either one. So Jordan felt terrible. But I told him, I said, "Bud, you got 16 rebounds. We wouldn't have been in this position if it wouldn't have been for you." So. All the guys felt bad. We had 5.8 seconds. We had time, to get a look, and we just didn't get it done.
Center of the room.
Dana, Dylan Ennis, and so many of the guys on this team play with heart. They wear their emotions on their sleeve. Dylan Ennis, you could see that he wasn't okay with, this is the last game. He wanted that, and it showed in the way that he played. What could you say to sort of quantify the way he played and the kind of heart and hunger that he showed in this game tonight?
Well, I think I'd say that for the rest of the team. I thought all our guys, but when you're a senior, that sense of urgency, is a little bit more, and I don't know how many of our guys will be back. I'm sure all of them will look at their options, and I want them to. We want what's best for them. But Dylan Ennis knew it was his last game, so that sense of urgency when you're a senior, and you're thinking it could be the last time you get to play, I think that takes it up a notch.
Any further questions for Coach Altman? on the left side toward the front.
Deshaun Tate, CBS Radio in Atlanta. There was some high expectations for the team coming in this year. After beginning the season, there was specifically 2 back-to-back losses. Can you talk about how you kept your team motivated and optimistic about how they could still be able to get to this point and be one of the last 4 teams playing?
Well, it's a long season. We started the season, fighting injuries to Dylan Brooks, and so we got out of the gate kind of slow, but we knew it was a long season. We knew we had good basketball players, and it was a matter of just working and keeping them together. And again, we had an experienced group, a competitive group. There was never a doubt in my mind, that we wouldn't put things together and have a really good team. But we fought some adversity to start the season. We fought some at the end, and I was really proud of the guys for trying to fight through it.
Final question for Coach Altman.
Rick Morgan, Duck News. Coach, you talked a little bit about the urgency for Dylan and it being his last game. And some of the kids maybe not, knowing what their future will be, but you will be back. How do you process this? How will you learn from it, and what will you take forward with it?
Well, it's going to sting for a while, and I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to work with those guys, and all my past players and past teams have put us in this position. So you'll reflect a little bit, and then we got to start putting together a team, for next year and see where everything's at. But when I look back, no doubt I'll have great feelings for a special team that would really compete, would come to practice every day and try to do what I asked them to do. I'll have great feelings about this team. It'll just take a while for us to get through, and get rid of some of this hurt, but we will, and the guys, they'll bounce back, and the guys that are coming back will work their tails off to be better next year, and the guys that decide to make the jump, then I'm going to wish them the best of luck, and hope like heck that everything works out great for them.